Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Soul Journey, episode 8 with Jeany Crux. I'm so happy to have her here. Um, she's an honored guest of mine, somebody I've known for quite a long time from actually the beginning of my journey. But I want to welcome her. Jeany is the host of the self aware and empowering podcast called Expand. She empowers others to make radical changes by sharing experiences in overcoming addictions, finding courage, speaking her truth, and smashing limiting beliefs. And I know Jeany from a while back, so she has many talents, and I can't wait for her to kind of expand on them and what she's been up to and how she's growing and evolving. So welcome, welcome, welcome. And so happy to have you
Thanks. I'm so excited to be
here.
here. And it's cool to reconnect with you again, and seeing how far you've come on your journey. Because, like you said, when we first met, I was kind of doing like what you're doing. Like, I was really deep in Reiki, and I know we were sharing a lot about that. You were beginning to become certified, and now you're certifying people. And it's so cool to see how you've gone in this world and where your journey's taken you as well.
Yeah, definitely a full circle moment, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's good to catch up. And it's cool to, I love what you're sharing too about the whole soul journey thing, because that's been the biggest thing that's been guiding me lately, is really connecting with my mission and my soul's purpose, and finally putting together all of the breadcrumbs and the puzzle pieces that have been my soul guiding me and this whole mission that we're on too. So it's
Yeah,
great. It's great to talk about this stuff.
definitely. And I love interviewing people who have gone through the experience of discovering not only their purpose, but just their need and their want for to be of service and to help other people,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And that it can be a long winding road, but it also can be something that it's very simple, that's always been in front of you, but you just
Yeah.
needed to kind of open your eyes and go, oh, this is what I need to do. Oh,
For
this is what
sure.
I'm
Yeah.
calling.
Connect with that. And getting to that point, you have to open a lot of wrong doors to figure it out too. Like,
Mhm.
some stuff really has to fall apart. I think collectively right now we're going through a massive shift that is, the earth raising its vibration, humanity raising our vibration. We're stepping into a new frequency that we've never encountered before. And with that comes so much death, and not literal human death, but just the death of things that no longer work, the death of toxic relationships, of careers that aren't in alignment. I think we're all
Right.
really just being boot kicked onto our path right now. And we can either approach that with grace, and so there's certain amounts of surrender that come with it, or we can fight it and resist it and try to hold on to the things that our soul journey, our soul is telling us, hey, that's not for you, let it go. And I think that's like a big lesson that we're all facing at this time. And us, the healers, the ones who are here to do the work, help everybody. I think we've been put through it earlier than everyone
Hmm.
else. Like, our journey started for us, I think that was probably like 6 years ago when we were
Yeah,
really connecting. And now look where we are. We're finally holding space for others who are starting to go through this. So it doesn't make it fun or easy or anything. Sometimes it's hard to be a healer a lot of times, because we're so sensitive, and we feel everything that's going on around us. But it does give us purpose, and it is what we came here to do. And I think when we really embrace it and step into that, that's when the magic happens. That's when everything starts to feel easier for us, right?
definitely. And it is an evolution, right? Like you're never quite over, it's never quite over, but it does get easier, right? Like
Yeah.
even bigger challenges become easier because you've already learned the tools that help you kind of navigate through them, right? It's
Yeah.
not as challenging.
Yeah, totally. And it's like you said, evolution. I love that word, because I'm so infatuated with evolution and humanity. And I think there's just so much we can learn from looking at history, and it answers a lot of questions for us. But evolution is really what it is right now, is we're all needing to evolve. This has to happen. There's a lot of things not working. Look at the way we're treating the earth. Look at the amount of dysfunction happening. There's so much mental illness right now, so many people who are suffering, and this is part of our evolution. This is just that death that has to come before the rebirth. And I think there's so much beauty coming our way too. There's so much to look forward to. We just have to step into that. We have to surrender and accept it and evolve through this.
Definitely. Which, let's reel it back to the questions that I want to ask you, because it will give us a deep overview of who you are, your journey, and where you came from and where you're going, right?
Yeah.
So the first question is, what would you like to share about your life journey so far that has led you to become a healer or a podcaster?
Yeah, what led me to become a healer. So now I've stepped into, I used to do a lot of what you were doing, offering Reiki services to anyone in need. And but I realized really quickly that that actually wasn't my calling. That wasn't my purpose. My purpose here is to help evolve the collective consciousness now. But that came through exploring, I think I'm somebody who is always going to be doing different things, especially professionally. I just follow what excites me in the moment. And I'm always, expand is where I've landed right now, because I'm constantly expanding. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the lessons. So what got me into what I'm doing now was the hard stuff. My healing journey, my Reiki journey started because I was at a point where I was dysfunctioning so severely. I basically was a walking anxiety attack at that point in my life. And I woke up one day about to go to a job that was not in alignment for me, but I didn't know what was. And I woke up that morning, my anxiety was so bad, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I called in sick to work, and it was like, I'm either going to go to my doctor and he's going to prescribe me some medication for this, because that's where we're at, or I'm going to try something different. And I just had this voice in my head that's like, go for something different. Just try something. And I booked a Reiki appointment that day with somebody else. And I'd heard of Reiki before. It wasn't new to me, but it was the first time I'd experienced being held energetically by someone. And just that, you know what it's like when I know you've had people show up to an appointment and they just fall apart, right? You just let it all out, you cry, you release, and just that feeling of being held. That was really powerful for me. And in that moment, my third eye opened up and I started having intuitive dreams. And I was like, wow, okay, hang on. Maybe I am supposed to be doing that work. Maybe I'm supposed to be the healer. And from there, once you have those awakenings and those moments, you're now all of a sudden in alignment with everything you need to make it happen, right? So
Right.
I became certified in Reiki right away, and I started doing sessions with people, loving it, finding a lot of fulfillment in it. But then recognizing, especially once I became pregnant and having children of my own, I've got two young kids, recognizing I'm not at capacity to hold space for people, because that's a
Right.
big thing as a healer, is
Mm-hmm.
knowing when you've got to just take care of yourself and hold your own. But recognizing the call to help heal was still so strong. But my history is in radio broadcasting. So I worked in radio broadcasting for the last 10 years. It's what I went to college for. Knowing, okay, I have this voice, I have these stories, I have this way of speaking to people. Let's use that instead, because that fills me up too. So now I'm at a place where I'm wanting to heal everyone, but through storytelling, through sharing, and through teaching. So I've transitioned now from being the healer to being that guide, an intuitive guide who can coach people, motivate people, and teach people. So that's the long-winded answer to
Yeah.
what got me here right now.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's working right now. It's good.
Yeah, well, you're healing through your vibration, right? Like you worked on your
Hmm.
vibration to a certain level that now you can share it with other people. And that
Yeah,
heals too, right? When somebody goes, "Hey, if she did it, if she went through this, if she over surpassed this, if she overcame this, then I can do it too," right? Like it's that beautiful mirroring.
absolutely.
I was had a client this morning and I talked about those tuning forks, right?
Mm,
Where
yeah, I love those.
once they when if there are two different hertz, they don't affect each other, but if they're both resonate at the same vibration, you can ding one and the other one starts singing too, right? So
Hmm.
it's that, yeah, your vibration just is now affecting the collective, right?
And exactly, and that's such a beautiful understanding too, once you can grasp that, because I love the idea of the fact that, we're made of 99% water, and we're all vibration. And it's true, because you can just see the things that you attract when you're in a certain vibe. When you're low vibe and you're not in a good place, all of a sudden you're just attracting more things. A couple months ago I was having a hard time, and what happens, I'm complaining about money and things being hard and whatever, and then here I am now, I've got 2 speeding tickets that show up in the mail, and just more, you know what I mean? You start to
Yeah,
attract more things to give you that, because that's the frequency you're on. But once you eliminate that and you focus and put yourself in a higher vibration, now all of a sudden you have beautiful things that you're attracting. I'm attracting this conversation with you right now, and it's good. That's we're at that frequency. Frequencies are like, they're powerful when
yeah,
we figure out how to use it to our advantage.
for sure. And I'm sure it's happened in your lifetime too, where um, you could be in a situation that could have been harmful for you, but because you're vibrating at a certain vibration, you didn't even notice it, right? Like it
Hmm.
happened on the other side somewhere else, and you're not even part of that world. It almost kind of shields you from it's a different reality, a different shift of not only consciousness, but dimension, if anything, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's part of what's going on with this collective consciousness right now, is we really are leveling up into a new dimension. We're ready to step into more. And I think that's where a lot of us are being presented with gifts right now too. Like what I said to you, when I first started opening up to Reiki and my third eye opened up, I realized I had all these psychic gifts, and they started presenting themselves to me in my dreams. I was having all of these intuitive dreams, and recognizing like, oh, okay, I was kind of closed off to something before that now I have access to. And that's the problem, is so many of us don't realize that we all have the same abilities within us. There's
Right.
nobody who is born a psychic or born a medium or born this and that, a healer even. You're we're all born with the same abilities. It's just the frequencies that we tap into, and it's all training ourselves to be able to do these things. And that's a big thing of what I'm trying to do now, and why I love teaching and sharing my story, is getting other people to step into their power right now. I think is the biggest thing that we need. We need people to realize they don't have to, go to therapy to be okay. They don't have to book a Reiki session with someone to heal. Like, these things are great. They're great tools. They're great services to help. But at the end of the day, you are the one who can heal yourself. You are the one who's doing that work. And that was a big thing I learned too when I started doing Reiki sessions on other people, is I was just a conduit for healing. I
Right.
I wasn't doing the healing. They're doing the
Hmm.
healing. And
Exactly.
that's something that I think is so important for people to understand too, is we are all these magical beings. We're all that divine light that is, fragmented out into different experiences and different pieces, but we all come from that same, whatever you want to call it. We all have a different name from it, but for it, but we all know it to be something to us, and that's important to tap into.
Definitely. And once again, I agree with you completely that I'm not a healer. I'm just connected and attuned to a certain frequency that I then remind your body that it can attune to that frequency as well, right?
And
But
that's
the work is done
important.
from within. Like
Hmm.
that's why the name of my business is Guidance Within, because as much as you, and I mean, we've all had these kind of clients that they come in, you guide and you guide and you guide, and they always end up in the same place, but not
Hmm.
because you're not guiding them, it's because they're not willing to take that step forward, right?
Yeah, and that's the
So,
thing with Reiki too, is I think that you can be kind of given an option to bypass things. Like, I have had people, I would always ask clients before performing a session, do you want to know what I see? Do you want to talk about what comes up, what I'm picking up on? And I've had people just say no, like, just clear the blocks, just get rid of it. They don't want to go there. They don't want to go to that shadow. They're trying to avoid it. They just want to feel the light and all the positive. But I mean, spiritual bypassing is a thing. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
if there's work you need to do, you're going to keep attracting that. Like we're talking about with the frequencies. So if you keep attracting a narcissist, well, maybe there's something there, right? There's work that needs to be done. There's a boundary that you need to set from within to
Right.
stop that from happening. But if we don't do that work, if we're just bypassing it all the time, then the frequency is still there. We're still putting that out there that we need to heal that. We need to learn that lesson. So it's not going to go away unless if we do it. And I think that that's good, you saying guidance from within. I think that's a really good message to put out because, unfortunately, there are some healers out there who are like, pay me all this money and I'll fix you. I'll make all your problems go away. But yeah, at the end of the day, maybe you will feel great for the moment, but I do think it can be a band-aid effect too, in the sense of you've got to do the work, or you have to bring the awareness and the intention to your healing, not just sit there and have someone do it for you. Or, it's not a pill you can take that's gonna
Yeah.
just cure you.
Yeah. It's that inner work. It's and I like the word light workers, because we work with our own light, right?
Totally.
First,
Yeah.
and then we can kind of help others, right? So
Yeah.
we already kind of explained that, because the next question is, have you discovered your life purpose? And if you did, how did that occur? So maybe you did talk about your purpose, but if you could maybe clarify, add a little bit more to that, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. So a big thing I've discovered in finding my purpose is, I think the way to get there is to follow the things that excite you. I think we're all given such unique little lights of inspiration and lights of excitement because that's it. That's our own unique path to take. So like I said too, I'm always evolving into new identities, new interests, new things. But the big thing that's stuck with me is recognizing I am a storyteller. And when I look at careers and jobs, I like to go back through human evolution and look at the basics. So, there was a time one day when we all just lived off the earth. There was no tech. There was no mass production of food, nothing. We just lived in communities. We built our own huts, and everyone had their own jobs. So, you were either someone who would farm and help give food, you were someone who would teach children, you were someone who would tell stories and empower people and share. That was how all of the ways were shared. That was how you knew about mythology, or you knew about what was going on in other places and other people's experiences and stories. There were storytellers, and the job of the storyteller was an important role. They kept all of the information. This was before written language was a thing.
Yeah.
So I recognize myself as being that person, like that messenger of important information, and how it can be used for good. So that's kind of just where I fell into it. But it's come to me through following the things that excited me. When I was going to college, it was funny. I was torn between radio broadcasting, and then I was approved to go to college to be a social worker to help people. And it's cool because I didn't know exactly at the time how this was all going to play out for me, having a podcast, helping people expand their consciousness and heal themselves. That was not part of it. But in that moment, I was like, well, I want to heal people. I want to help people, but I'm really also excited about being on the radio and talking to people. And I chose what excited me the most in the moment. And it worked out in my favor because now I'm speaking to people. I'm trained on it. I know how to do it. I'm confident now to get behind a microphone and do it. And I've still managed to incorporate the helping people into it. So I think when we're following what excites us in the moment, it doesn't always make sense that it's
Mhm.
leading us to our purpose, but it is. I think that's how our soul communicates with us. One of the ways our soul communicates with us is, we've got beautiful things like angel numbers and coincidence, like things like that can come in, signs and symbols. But a big one is just straight up follow what excites you, and that's gonna be in alignment with your soul's purpose.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's wonderful. That's very well put. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the next one's it's a nice question too. It's a nice lighthearted question. What are some of the challenges you faced during your healing journey?
Um, I get in my own way. Like
Mhm.
I think a lot of us do that. We get in our own way. So I think the biggest challenges I've had to overcome have been my own limiting beliefs and my own self-sabotaging ways. My healing journey is still ongoing. I can never going to sit here and tell you I'm healed and listen to me. I know all the things. What I'm going to tell you is like, here's some stuff I've overcome. Here's how I've overcome it. And the biggest one has been like battling my own addictions. I had to stop drinking alcohol. I recognized early in my healing journey that it was really lowering my vibration. It was blocking me off. I grew up in a family where we just drank socially all the time. It was like every weekend was about drinking, hanging out with friends. It was drinking, partying. And then once I started to open up intuitively and I stopped drinking, I recognized, oh, wow, I now was having these psychic dreams. I was now connecting with my intuition. I was now really good at reading people's chakras and going through like their bodies and receiving those messages. So I think a big thing has just been overcoming my own obstacles of, giving up drinking was hard for me. It's been over a year now and I'm not looking back. Like it's been great, the gifts I've received from that. But also just my own self-sabotaging limiting beliefs. A big one has been accepting community. I like, to be honest, one of my biggest problems is, when I'm hurting, I retreat. I go into this lone wolf, and that's held me back from so many opportunities and so much healing. So I think that's just the biggest thing, is doing my own shadow work, recognizing when I'm the problem and when I need to get out of my own way. And in doing that, I've been able to accomplish a lot, especially this last year. I've really overcome some huge hurdles, the things behind the scenes, like with you having your own business and having a podcast and stuff like that. There's so much discipline that happens behind the scenes, and we have to teach ourselves a lot. We really, and that's the stuff that nobody knows. So I think that's been the biggest thing, is just all of the obstacles that I've overcome that nobody sees, that I haven't gotten recognition for.
Right.
That's been the biggest thing, because it's like, it's great when you announce something. Like I remember when I announced my podcast and I was like, woohoo, yeah, here's this, and that's great because everyone celebrates you in the moment. But like, man, the hurdles of like, I designed my own websites and all these things that nobody gives you recognition for. Like I remember the time when I first built my own website, I was like, yes, I did it, and then it's like nobody cares.
I know.
But
I hear you.
yeah, those big things are just when you wake up in the morning and you do that workout or you do that meditation, that nobody gives you credit for. Those are the hardest obstacles to overcome sometimes, and the biggest things that we can be proud of, that we're not proud of.
Right, right. No, I know what you mean, because I think last week or 2 weeks ago, I spent like 6 hours just revamping my website, adding a few things, adding actually the Soul Journey um, interviews in there that people can connect to, whatever. And
Yeah.
it was something that I wanted to for a while, and it was like I was done. I was like, yeah, I'm done, yay
I
me! Like,
know.
it's like I had to celebrate myself, but it was like,
I
you know,
know.
you can't tell your kids, it's like your mom just spent 6 hours doing, and they're like,
I
yeah, for what?
know.
Like, so it's
Especially
funny.
being an entrepreneur too. And
Oh,
like, I have to explain to my husband a lot of the time, like, the hours I'm putting in as an entrepreneur, and you're not getting paid right away too. You have to put all these systems in place and all these things. And explaining to my husband sometimes, like, yeah, I'm gonna, hire a childcare for the day so I can work and do all this stuff. And I do a lot of marketing. I also offer marketing services to small business, branding, email marketing and everything. And he doesn't like having to explain to him, like, yeah, I'm paying for childcare for a whole day of work, but I'm not actually getting paid to work that day. And it's hard, and it requires that inner strength, and you really have to
yeah.
like stay true to why you're doing it. And you didn't get paid to do 6 hours of
No. Yeah.
cleaning up your
Yeah.
archives of your
Yeah.
content, but that's stuff that's gonna pay off in the long run. and,
Exactly.
and that's where you have to stay strong in that too, right?
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
rewarding. It's rewarding. And I think the one thing that I learned about being an entrepreneur is that follow your own timeline. Like, don't do the 9 to
Yeah.
5. Like, I like to wake up in the morning, do my own thing, and then by 10 o'clock, I like to sit on my computer or even take clients, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I'm up until midnight doing posts and it's okay because
Uh-huh.
I have the energy, right? So,
Yeah.
but it's not like that all the time. Maybe the next day I
Yeah.
don't do anything, right? So it's also learning your own flow and learning that when you're ready to work until you can't work anymore, and then when you can't work, don't work, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. And yeah, and that's the thing too. Like I've learned I work very cyclically. So my goal is always to release a podcast episode every week. But I actually record them all in one day. And
wow,
because I have to be smart about how I do it in the sense I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. Like you and I originally tried to do this chat live and it was like minutes before and I was like, I'm so sorry, Maria. Like my daughter's screaming. I can't get away. I can't do it. So I have to be really smart. And that's where when we talk about how we evolve, I've evolved this career and this practice in a way where when I'm full of energy, when I'm in a good place, high vibing, I will record all my content in one day. And then now I've got a month's worth of content. So I did all my work in one day. I mean, there's still hours and hours of editing and everything else that comes with it. But being smart and evolving and knowing what works for you and applying that. So I'll do my stuff in a day. And then now I've got a whole month's worth of content where I can sit back and let that work for me. So
yeah,
that's
for
part of
sure,
it too. Yeah. Yeah.
awesome. So if we move to the next question,
Mm-hmm.
it is, what is the one lesson you have learned and share with people all the time? Like one of those deep life lessons that you're like, oh, I learned the hard way, so I'm going to teach you how to not learn the hard way. Just be aware of it, right?
One of the biggest lessons I've learned, and I'm still always learning because it's a choice, is always choosing love over fear. I think that we both have these like polarizing thoughts that play out within us. You've got like it plays out in movies as children or whatever, that like little good angel and the devil
Yeah,
on your head talking into you. I think that's very real for all of us. We all have love thoughts and fear thoughts that we're presented with at any given moment. And, the fear thought can be strong because it comes with evidence of, times it's your ego in a sense, right? It's trying to keep you safe. And it comes with evidence of, well, don't go swimming because when you were a kid, you saw someone get hurt in the water or something, right? And those thoughts can take over. But I think when we're always choosing the love thought of, go swimming because it excites you, it's beautiful, it's fun, it's good for your body. That's a big thing. And that's something that I'm always working on, always trying to overcome. And I've kind of like trained my family, like my two closest people, my mom and my husband, kind of trained them on that too. When I say things now, they're like, is that a love thought or a fear thought? And they'll call me out on it because that's my work is always choosing that love thought and not being held back by fear. And that's something I really want to always share with people too. Choose love.
yeah. That reminds me of the story of the two wolves, right? You have
Mm,
the dark wolf, which is fear, and then you have the light wolf, which is love. And
okay.
which wolf wins? Is the one that
Oh,
you feed the most, right?
yeah. Well, yeah,
If you feed
yeah.
fear, it's gonna be eat you, it's gonna be the strongest.
It
If you feed
creates
love,
your
that's
reality. And then
yeah,
that's the thing too, is it creates your vibration and your frequency because our brains are these beautiful transmitters and receivers who are receiving messages from frequencies, universal languages that we can't see. And they're also transmitting to our bodies what to do, how to feel, how to react. So exactly, if you're feeding the fear thoughts, then your body's just going to be in alignment with it, and now your frequency is going to be in alignment with it, and now you're going to attract things to be afraid of.
yeah,
But the
sure.
love and gratitude, I mean, love and gratitude go hand in hand. The
Mhm.
fastest way to love is to have gratitude. And it's a big one, when I catch myself in fear thoughts and just then fear thought also that goes into like the self-sabotaging stuff too. That's part of, limiting fear beliefs. Is just catching yourself on it. And then when I want to get back to a love thought right away, just like, okay, focus immediately on what can I be grateful for right now? And that kind of starts the process for me.
Yeah. It almost kind of stops the momentum of that fear thought too, right?
Yeah, but
Kind
it's
of
like
derails.
it's work. It involves like
Oh yeah.
conscious awareness. You have to bring your attention to it, and you have to talk it down. But yeah, it's real. It's real.
Yeah.
It's a
Which now,
practice.
yeah, which now leads us to, what does healing mean to you? I think you kind of explained it a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah.
Um,
But I like the question. Yeah, I think healing means to me just answering your soul's nudges, and living in a way where you're not feeling like you're in dysfunction. So, especially with Reiki, and I'm very big on interpreting messages from the body. I know you had Tracy Trimble on here as a guest one time, and she was great. She taught me a lot about that. She was a mentor of mine at one point. Messages from the body. So, my healing journey is right away tapping into what's going on with me. If I feel like a cramp or an itch, or like, a pain somewhere, to me right away, that I never brush it off as a coincidence, and I don't take something to numb that pain. I right away tune in with myself. What is that? What is that trying to tell me? What is that communicating? So I think healing means to me being in absolute touch with ourselves and our bodies, and being able to make decisions based off of not fear, off of love, and just living in alignment with what feels authentic and true to us.
Beautiful. Oh, I love this question, because everyone I've had on this series has a different answer. Like, it's never
Yeah,
ending how unique and how expansive each answer could be, right? So I love it. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah, it's
Um,
great.
so our next question is, what do you love most about your gifts and healing talent?
I love, well, so my gifts and healing talent, an empath, which we all are, and all these gifts I'm listing off right now, we all have access to these gifts. Empath and an intuitive dreamer. So what I love about it is, I'll have dreams about friends, and friends that are going through hard times. I've had like really personal dreams, about people who are not even in my inner circle, like acquaintances, going through fertility struggles and stuff. And I've like, so you'll have this dream, you wake up and you're like, okay, ooh, that's like, ooh, what do I do with that? And
Right.
and
Right.
there's a process, and that's what I teach too, is working with dreams. There's a process to go through of, was this dream for me or was this for them? And I think what I love is when you get those intuitive messages that come through. If you're having a dream or you're performing Reiki on someone and you see a vision, and it comes true, and then, or comes to you and you say it out loud, and you become validated in it. Like, I love when I have a dream about someone and I reach out to them like, hey, was this you? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I think that's the stuff that I really find is, that's it for me. I like that. That's my favorite part about my skills and my talents and my gifts, is just seeing that they're real, and that I can do these things and we can do these things, and there is magic in the world. We just
Yeah.
have to believe in ourselves.
Right. That you can tap into that field that we all are part of, right? And you communicate in ways that, you know, there are you don't speak in you're speaking in energy instead of
Yeah. Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
And
And it's just a new language to learn, right? It's just one we weren't taught. We really were not taught. We've been gaslit on, let's be honest, by so many different industries. Marketing has made us believe that we need to buy things to be somebody. The coaching industry, the healing industry can make us believe that we're insignificant or we need them to heal. Doctors, pharmaceuticals make us think we need that to survive. Like, we're constantly being gaslit to believe that we are not a divine source of power, but
right.
we are. Yeah. So I think that's like the biggest form of empowerment for anybody, is when you recognize, like, I actually don't need anything but myself to do whatever I want and
Right.
create the reality that I want. We
Yeah.
go back to the early days of living in a forest by a river and having literally nothing. We didn't need any of these things that we thought we now think we need, and that we now lose sleep over and stress about. We can do it all. We're powerful. We're powerful beings.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So the next question is kind of tied to the one I just did. It's how do your gifts and talents make you unique? I know you talked about dream interpretation, like even
Yeah.
your own dream interpretation, but you help people with that as well.
Yeah, so I guess that would be like a unique thing that I have among like my inner circle. I've kind of become the friend that my friends go to when they have a dream of like, what was that all about? Or and that's just something that is really exciting for me to talk about. And I guess what would set me apart, where I'm at now on like coaching, I do coaching with people as well. There's empowerment coaching, intuitive coaching, guiding people. I went from healing to being like, hang on, instead of, you paying me to heal you, I want you to pay me to like empower you to heal yourself, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So the big thing is dreams, because I've realized, early on in my spiritual awakening, was given that gift of being able to see through my dreams, and recognizing like, okay, hang on a second, our subconscious mind, and I believe our soul, is constantly speaking to us through our dreams. Psychology proves that dreams are our subconscious mind bringing things to conscious awareness. So I think what sets me apart at this time is I have access to that. We all have access to it, but I know how to speak the language now of my dreams. I can speak that language, because dreams, our subconscious mind speaks to us through our bodies, messages from our body, for one, that itch, nudge, pain, cramp. But it also speaks to us through symbolism and emotion. So anxiety, fear, sadness, that's our subconscious mind trying to get our attention. So our dreams are just a great, safe, fun place where we can just explore anything. And that's been like the biggest thing for me. And I think what set me apart in recent days or years is having access to that language, and being able to help people answer, or receive their own messages, decipher their own messages from their subconscious. Even like my husband's great, like he wakes up in the morning and he'll right away tell me a dream that he can remember, and he's like, and sometimes it's funny because it's like, sometimes it'll be about me in a sense where I'm like, oh, like, sorry I caused you to have that dream by not being so nice to you or something. Or like, I can see right away how like I had a negative impact on him, and it showed up subconsciously, and it's kind of like, sorry. But it's cool. I love getting to talk to people about that stuff.
Yeah. So your husband's dreams are calling you out, kind of thing.
They call me out. Yeah, yeah. He had a dream like the other night where he like took my phone and like smashed it and broke it, and now is like, oh, sorry, like, I haven't been paying enough attention to you, and like things like that, where it's like
Yeah.
I can see how it plays out, and it's actually really helped heal our relationship a lot. I have a podcast episode that I released called Deep Desires of the Feminine, and it was about a dream that I had where I was working in a brothel, and I'm working in a brothel, and I had like all these men lined up to sleep with me. And I woke up in the morning and I said to my husband, I was like, oh, wow, like I just had this dream. I was working in a brothel. And he was like, that sounds awful. And to both of our surprise, my response to that was, actually, you know what? It was great. I liked it, in the sense of, in my dream, I was like, look at all these people
Right.
desiring me sexually and making me feel attractive. And, that dream opened up a whole conversation that needed to happen in my marriage of, at the time I wasn't feeling desired sexually. I
Yeah.
wasn't feeling attractive. I needed that from my partner. And that's where our dreams are such a gift. And, you can easily wake up, and what I did for many years, you wake up, you have that dream, and you're like, oh, that was weird. And that's it. You just move on with your day and nothing.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I took that strange story of my dream, and it like really helped my marriage. Like my husband and I talked about it and we implemented it. And now he'll like walk by and I'll smack my butt, or he'll be like, you look good. And it helped, right? He heard me, and I heard my subconscious mind. So it's good. It's a powerful tool.
Yeah. It brought to your awareness a deep need that you had within you that you didn't know how to express.
Exactly. And our dreams are
Wow.
constantly doing that to us, especially nightmares. Nightmares are like huge just red flags from your subconscious mind of like, here's where your work is, here's where your work is, go deal with that, go have that conversation with that person, go speak your truth, set that boundary. Like, it's on a silver platter. But then there's so many of us who are like suffering from nightmares, and instead we're just like medicating ourselves so we don't have them anymore, or like we're just flat out ignoring them, trying to avoid them. And it's like, sorry, but it's not going to go away unless if you deal with that underlying psychological factor contributor there, right? So it's a big help on the healing journey, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's neat. Yeah, no, I have very, very vivid dreams, and I have so many that I can't remember them all once I wake up. But I had one
Yeah.
recently that was like super cool.
Yeah, especially when you really start to tear it apart and look into it. There's
Yeah,
always learning there, always.
definitely.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, with all that exciting talk, what are some projects that you're working on right now?
So I've just launched the Expanding Consciousness Self-Empowerment course series. So this is me sharing my story, but educating people, just sharing everything that I've learned, empowering them to heal themselves, take control of their life. So the first portion that I've released on that is Dream Alchemy. So teaching people how to, like I've had times where I've just interpreted dreams for people, and it's been really great and helpful for them, but recognizing like, no, people need to know how to do this work themselves. Like, don't pay me to interpret your dreams. Pay me to teach you how to interpret your own dreams. It's gonna benefit us more, both of us more in the long run. And it's such fulfilling work for me. So those are projects that I'm working on right now. And my podcast is always ongoing. I love talking, sharing. But yeah, now I'm transitioning into going from being the healer who was doing tarot card readings before. Tarot was an awesome way for me. It actually is so connected to the dream world because tarot is the same thing. It's symbolism. And I've been trained and certified in understanding and reading symbolism for people. And now I just take all those symbols, apply them to dreams. And it's like, oh, like, there you go. I was doing that work then, in the following what excites you then. Tarot excited me then, not realizing that it would guide me into analyzing and interpreting dreams too. So yeah, that's the biggest project I have right now, is launching these online courses and this self-empowerment series, and helping people and really stepping into this new calling. They're the evolution of my beginning of my calling. So it's been really, really fun.
Yeah. Well, with all our skills too, it's a layering effect, right? Like you
Yeah.
collect them, and then all of a sudden you find this one thing that uses all the skills you've been collecting your lifetime, or even just the last little bit, right? You're like, oh, that's why I learned how to do, I don't know,
You're
crochet, or
just
I learned,
following breadcrumbs. Like, we never know what the end result is going to be. And I think that the harder we try to control the end result, the more we're just gonna like fall, everything's gonna fall apart, right? It's just
yeah,
always
definitely,
following those little breadcrumbs and the little excitements. Totally.
for sure. Um, so the next question is, what services do you provide and why? And I want you to put in there when you release your podcast as well.
Yeah, so a podcast usually typically comes out Monday morning, or sorry, every Friday morning, Friday mornings. And that's a weekly. I try to keep it weekly, but seriously, life really, I'm going through my own metamorphosis right now of really having to learn time management, and the discipline involved in getting them edited and done. So podcast, and then I do one-on-one coaching as well. So intuitive development. I love working with people who have recently had a spiritual awakening, and they're like starting to realize the gifts and the abilities they have access to, but not knowing exactly how to get there. I'm there for that. And empowerment coaching as well, helping people get clear on their mission and their purpose, connect. And I incorporate so many different modalities into it. It all just depends on who I'm working with, but it incorporates the Reiki, the tarot, the dream interpretation, everything I've learned. really working with the subconscious mind and the body. And then on top of that, I've got the online courses right now. And then I also am a workshop facilitator. So I love to join in with events, retreats, come as a motivational speaker. I love empowering people in mass groups. So coming out and just doing these energy activations. I was working with men just exclusively for a while there in the fall. Doing these warrior activations, helping men heal, and getting them in their body, getting them in touch with what was going on. And that was powerful. Love working with men. But now I'm really not trying not to limit myself to anyone in particular, but out to any events. If anyone here is hosting an event and you're looking for that, I'm just excited to be a part of all of that stuff in sharing, empowering people, and transforming energy for the greater good for all. That's the biggest service that I have to offer. And yeah, that's where I'm at right now. But everything is always evolving, depending on what's going on. By the time, who knows when this will air, I might be doing something totally different, but I'm still me, and I'm still here for the ride, and I'm still here. I know I'm here to raise the collective consciousness and help people step into their power and remember that they are a divine being, and not to fall to those fear thoughts. That's the mission.
So your coaching and your is that one-on-one on Zoom, online?
One-on-one right now. Yeah, one-on-one right now. I'm definitely wanting to do a group a group coaching program soon. But I'm respecting where I'm at right now with my two young children, and I'm really grateful for this time with them and getting to raise them, because that's definitely what I'm supposed to be doing right now too. Definitely supposed to be doing that. So so right now just doing some one-on-one work as needed. And then I also I do marketing services as well. So with my history, my background in radio, I learned a lot about promotions and marketing and everything too. So now I've actually applied that. I've taught myself over the last 10 years how to build websites. So I do websites for actually spiritual entrepreneurs are my main people that I work with, help people with their websites and get clear on their brand and their own individual storytelling and their mission. I like to weave in their soul's purpose and what they're doing with their business and help them brand themselves that way, get them online and get them out healing the world and doing their work. Because so many healers like yourself, like we've said, the amount of hours we've had to invest in our own marketing and getting ourselves online and everything, it's like I think that there's a lot of great healers and people out there who have such amazing talents to offer that just aren't being seen because they don't know how to do that stuff. They don't know how to do a website. They don't know how to market themselves. They don't understand social media. So I have a very clear understanding of that and a lot of skills to offer there. So I work with clients when it's in alignment there as well, and help them get clear on their brand and just kind of incorporate the empowerment coaching into someone who wants to use that in their business as well. So that part is called Crux Creative. So that's an ethical marketing agency that I formed when I decided to leave radio broadcasting, when I walked away from that. So just navigating this whole new journey of literally following what excites me and just being like, we'll figure it out as we go along. And so far it's going really well. Like,
that's awesome.
Once you get on that frequency and you commit to doing something, especially when I made the decision to actually quit my radio broadcasting job of the last 10 years, I'd been with the same company. And then I decided, you know what? No, like I was, hosting radio shows and everything there, but what I could talk about on the air, like for mainstream radio versus what I can talk about here, like you couldn't even compare it. Like there was just nothing fulfilling about that, nothing that was fueling my soul. And once I made the decision to walk away from that to do this work, it was like all those breadcrumbs just magically appear. They just magically appear of like, oh, okay, here we go. We're getting there.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's great that you offer that marketing, because a lot of people who are spiritual are not techies. Like I'm self-taught in a lot of the things I'm doing.
And it's so many hours you have to invest in that stuff, right? And it's like, if you're a really good healer, you should be able to just do that. Just do your
Right.
healing. Like, don't, yeah, because it stops so many people. It's a huge block where they're like, oh, I couldn't possibly handle the accounting, or I couldn't possibly handle, yeah, the marketing. For me, it's a lot of extra hours. But it's like, yeah, when you're ready, you take that leap, hire someone and just do you. And it always
Yeah.
pays off. The investment always pays
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
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 But it's also good that you are in the spiritual realm too, because I find that even if you go just and get help from somebody, they don't
Mhm.
understand your niche. They don't understand your needs. And
No.
even just the language that you're trying to speak, right? Or that you're
Yeah.
even creating as you're trying to,
Well,
promote yourself.
recognizing like the biggest thing of marketing is your energy has to be behind it. So if
Yeah.
you're trying to sell someone something, but your energy isn't behind it, you're going to get zero sales. So I think that's the big thing too, is, understanding energetically, like marketing is energy, and telling your story is energy. You're putting out that frequency. If you want to attract clients that are in alignment with what you can do, you've got to be very specific with the messaging you're giving out there, but it also has to be very authentic messaging to yourself, because we've gotten good, as we're saying, as the consciousness is raising itself collectively, we're pretty good now at like sniffing out what is true and what's not true. Like we don't like being sold anymore. People do not like being sold anymore.
Yeah.
And that's where, with starting this marketing company, I wanted to, really branch in the ethical side of things, because also my mission is choose love over fear. And a lot of marketing right now is fear-based marketing, scare
Right.
people into buying something. And like, that's a huge thing when you like, even when I've been learning how to market, is they're like, always the big thing is identify everyone's pain points, their triggers, their
Yeah.
pain points, and all their suffering, and then, sell them on that. And it's like, well, that doesn't feel right, because for me as a consumer of, social media or something, I don't want to be opening up my feed and just seeing all my pain points all the time. I don't want to be presented with that stuff. I want to just
Right.
see the light, see the success story, see the good things. So that's where, with my approach to marketing, is very much of, if I'm going to share a pain point, it's going to be my own. I'm
Mm,
not going to be like, Maria, are you feeling this and this today? I'm just going
yeah.
to share from, here's what have felt in my time. And if you can relate, then that's great. I'm now attracting what's in alignment, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay,
Yeah.
and the last question here is where can people find you and or get a hold of you?
My website, jeanycrux.com, JeanyCrux.com. So from there, I've got everything. I have a free resource up there right now called The 5 Most Common Dreams and What They Mean. So if you're interested in the dream stuff, you can download that. As I said, it's free. And then from there, you can kind of start to learn. Maybe you've had one of those dreams. The 5 most common dreams, I've had all of them. They're very relatable dreams. And from there, you can kind of start to learn about that world, because dreams it's a good one right now for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want you to expand a little bit on the course. On the course that you just launched, is it online? Is it
It is.
self-led?
It's all online, and it was created by a mom of 2 toddlers. So it is literally meant to be consumed like in the minutes before you go to bed or while you're driving to work. It is not something where you have to sit down and do homework. I've broken it up into a bunch of bite-sized videos. So you just watch the short little videos as you go when it feels good. And then I've given like some documents and PDFs and stuff, some journal prompts you can just download, do at your own time. So it's like super simple, and then it works for my schedule too, of I recognize I can't do these one-on-one appointments with people like with you trying to do the live show. It doesn't work for me right now. So I was like, how can I teach people and empower people, but without having to have these appointments all the time? So it's been perfect. I have all of this information there, and it's me behind a camera sharing it with you. My heart and soul are going into it. A lot of it came to me through my dreams, and it's great. So it's very easy to download for anyone at this point. And it'll help you, that's for sure.
And it's on your website, right? If they go
It's
in.
on my website, yeah, under the courses section. It's called Dream Alchemy. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds exciting. Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, once again, those are the questions. Thank you so much for being
Thank
here. I had a
you.
great time talking to you.
Oh,
I love when
yeah.
there's more expansion between questions and addressing some
Yeah.
questions,
Yeah.
and I
I'm
could
gonna
keep
ask you
talking.
because I'm also a podcast host. This is like I love when I get to be on the other side, but I want to ask you like what's your biggest lesson that you're learning right now in your life?
Oh, there's so many. But once again, this keeps coming up again. It's the fact that I'm not going to be the hero in everyone's story. Sometimes
Mm,
I'm gonna be the villain, and it doesn't matter how good I was or if I did everything right or not. It really sometimes is not up to me whether I'm the villain or the hero,
mm,
right? In someone's story, not my story, but in someone's story.
mm-hmm.
So
I
yeah,
like that. I like that. That's true. That's a hard one too, because
it
everyone
is
has their own belief system, right? So like we can have the both of us be in the same room and witness the same thing happen, but have two completely different experiences of it. And yeah, it's a hard one because we are so concerned about what people think about us. We
right.
really, yeah, yeah,
And as empaths, we kind of have a hero complex, don't we? Right?
yeah,
We want to
yeah.
help and heal everybody. We want
Well, yeah,
everyone to
we're
be
just like
okay.
relieve us from
Yeah,
everyone else's pain. Like
right,
relieve
right.
me from feeling everyone else's pain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
totally.
it's hard to kind of um, step away from the purpose of trying to heal and save people or help people to then going,
Yeah.
well, am I being viewed here correctly, right? Is this my misperception of the situation, or is is their life experience that's making them see this of me? Because
Totally.
you get to a point in life, right, where you're like, I know who I am. I love who I am. I love
Hmm.
how what I do, and I love how I show up for people. And sometimes you can do that to the T and still be looked at somebody who is, rude, uncaring, and like, so it's really not your perception or the things that you do, but it's the perception and the life experience and glasses of the person viewing you, right?
Hmm. But I think even like with taking that information too, like we can heal ourselves in taking the like enemy of our story too and kind of thanking them and forgiving them too. There's so
Right.
much healing that comes from forgiveness. And yeah, like we're not always going to be the the good guy in the other story, but we also have our own enemies and our own like demons of our stories. But yeah, when we can recognize like the people who have harmed us or done not nice things to us, recognize that they're kind of helping us in a sense of learning a lesson we need to learn too, right?
100%. But in that lesson, I'm not devoiding the fact of be self-aware too. Like if someone's
Mm-hmm.
mirroring something to you, look at it,
Mm-hmm.
be
Yeah.
aware of it, and because sometimes there is some truth in that, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
then you have to go back and go, okay, well, I did say that, and I did mean it this way, and I did, maybe I didn't do this correctly, right? So what I'm trying to say is that yes, you might not have intended for things to happen a certain way, and you're viewed as a villain, but sometimes we need to be the villain of the story, right? You as
Mm-hmm.
a parent know this very well, right? Sometimes you got to be the mom that says, no, you can't do that. That's dangerous. You got to do this. You have to kind of set boundaries and say no to people and reject people or even just get in the way of people because you're like, this is not good for you. Right. Now
Yeah.
you're doing out of love and out of caring, but that person's not going to view it that way. Right.
Yep.
So sometimes being the villain is the harsh lesson you have to teach, and that's the hardest part, and this is another big lesson that I've learned is that the job of a mother is not the one. I mean, it's to take care of your child, but you've done a good job when your child is can fall down and get up on by himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Watch them, and you as a mother, you're like you're suffering,
Yeah.
but they're going to get up by themselves and they're going to just
Yeah.
brush off and go, okay, let's
Absolutely.
let's go again, right?
Yeah.
So it's not an easy job. It's not an easy job to see the little being you created in your body to go out into the world and get
I
knocked
know.
down.
That's my son right now. He's 4, and I feel like I have to just like offer him up to the world, like as just like a sacrificial, like, I've got you. If
Yeah.
you can't stop their traumas from happening, you can't do that, because their soul chose that. Their soul chose to come here for very specific lessons, and they chose me as their mother for very specific reasons. So you have to surrender to that and offer them up with so much love, and just, okay, world, here's my son,
Yeah.
here's the world, and I'm here for you if you need me, but you can do this, right? That's it's hard. I say it like
Yeah.
it's easy, but like, whoo, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Well, it's the mother's ultimate sacrifice, right? Knowing that she will eventually have to give
Yeah.
the thing that they love the most in this world
Yeah.
to the world, right?
And our children are just like, what a vulnerability. I like, it's just like, I have these like two like gaping wounds that I'm walking around with now. Like I'm just wide open of like these
Yeah.
children. But like so
Yeah.
incredible to see them be
Right.
humans.
The other
Yeah.
side is to see them be just this amazing little being of
Yeah.
love, compassion, understanding, knowledge. Oh my God, are these kids wise, right?
Oh, they're
And then
such good
go,
teachers.
yeah, they're my babies. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
my, like
Yeah.
you totally take pride
Yeah.
over them, right?
And
Over
I
that.
think these
Yeah.
kids, like how we're talking about the collective consciousness raising its frequency and its vibration, they're coming in at a higher frequency too right now. Like these
Oh,
kids
yeah,
are, they are already like, they have so many gifts, and it's very common right now for children to have ADHD and autism and things like that. And I honestly really believe that these are just highly intuitive kids. The
me
kid
too.
with ADHD, that's a kid who is like so aware of things going on, and having so many excitements in the moment that they can't sit still, right? And the
Right.
autistic child, they're seeing things that we cannot see. So these
Mhm.
kids, they're coming in at a higher frequency right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also believe that they also come, especially with autistic, like highly autistic children, is they come to change the vibration in the sense of we can't change them. There's nothing that
Hmm.
we can do, this society can do to affect them or change them. So we have to now learn
Yeah,
to
they come
change
as a
ourselves,
teacher, yeah, to teach
right?
us.
So it's a
Yeah.
deep lesson of, okay,
Hmm.
society can't dictate who they are, but they
Yeah.
can definitely help you dictate not only that, but be authentic to who you are. Like you are
Yeah.
who you are, right?
Yeah. And
So it's a
they like
wonderful.
my kids teach me all the time, like lessons of, you know, like my son, his best favorite word or favorite line right now is why not? Why? And they make us question everything that we know to be true and that are our beliefs, because there's times where I've told my son, like, you can't do that. And he's like, why not? And I'm like, you know what? Second thought, you can do that, because I don't have a real reason why not. I just like he doesn't wear a coat in the wintertime. Everyone, the teachers, the grandparents, especially with their old school programming of you have to wear a coat or you're going to get sick. Well, my son made me question it. I kind of looked into it and why not? And actually, children don't need to wear a coat. Like, of course, they need to wear coats within reason, but children have higher levels of brown fat on their body than white fat. White fat is what we get from eating food and stuff like that. Brown fat is like fat that activates and keeps you warm. So children can sleep at night with no blankets and everything, and their brown fat is keeping them warm, and they don't need it the same way that we do. And also, being in the cold is good for your immunity. It forces
Right.
your body to raise its temperature like a fever would, fighting off diseases and things going on in your body. Like, it keeps you healthy. Now there's so many benefits to cold plunging. I've had
Yeah.
incredible experiences with cold plunging. So things that, like, the traditional thought of you need to go outside and wear a coat or you're going to catch a cold. And then the 4-year-old saying, well, no, why not? And bringing that question to me, making me realize, like, oh man, there's a lot of silly rules that we're following that we do
Right.
not need to be following. So
Yeah.
good for those kids for keeping us in check for that too, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. I think you're right. They're coming from a place of innocence and going, well, why not? Like
Yeah.
I know want a reason why. And
They're just
sometimes
truth seekers. They're truth seekers. Yeah.
we adopt things from generations to generations that we don't
Mhm.
know why we're doing it. We're just mimicking our parents.
It's just
And
become a
then,
common belief. Yeah.
right? And then once you question, you're like, well, why not? Why? Like,
Yeah.
why am I right?
And now we're in a
So,
cool time with technology too, where we're really
yeah,
starting to debunk things. Like we really are, like, the conspiracies in the world, like there's a lot of truths coming out where it's like things that were hard beliefs before that we're realizing now, like, oh, okay, no, that was wrong. That was wrong, and sometimes science was wrong. Sometimes like this and that was wrong. And it's cool because I think if we approach everything with a like I love when people not tell me I'm wrong, but when people question me. Like I
yeah,
think that the best people we can be around are people who make us question ourselves or just make us always just seek our own inner truths too.
right.
If you hang out with people who are constantly agreeable and are constantly like telling you, oh, you're right. Oh, and we like those people because they do feed our ego. But if you're
Yeah,
always hanging out with those people, you're never going to learn anything new, or you're not going to expand your own consciousness. You're going to
right.
stay small. So I think it's good. Like, I love when I'm in front of someone who could not be more opposite than me, because I'm like, yeah, it's uncomfortable to have conversations with those people, but it really helps push me. And I always will, come out of that being like, you really know your truth when you're around those
Mm,
people because they
yeah,
test your truth, because
yes,
they want you to kind of conform and like be agreeable or go along with what they believe. But when you're with someone who has a totally different belief than you, it's an opportunity for you to really enforce your belief of why. And then even better if they can make you even kind of turn on your own belief. that's
right.
that's not a bad thing, if because then maybe they were right and now you're allowing yourself to be more formidable in that, and not stay small in your limiting belief, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, once again, it's the expanding your truth, right? Like almost cracking something open and adding an extra, um, and another more information, right? Um,
yeah,
yeah. So also,
growth comes
with
from
that
that. Yeah.
is you know what? I had a point. I've been doing this all day. Point goes in, comes out. Um, but in the sense too of, we are supposed to learn, we are supposed to test theories. And also it's okay though that two people can be right about their own point of view, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it's your own point of view, you're not wrong in it.
No.
I
No.
just don't have to believe it. The same as
Hmm.
you don't have to believe my point of view, but I believe I'm
Hmm.
right. So that's
Hmm.
what I'm saying. Like there could be two rights. And like, I mean, unless there's some things that are finite, right?
There are,
But
because you
there's
can right now you can do research online if you're wanting to find an answer to something. You can find whatever answer you want on something
right.
online, especially like
Yes.
there's so much evidence on both cases.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it helps you identify your truth and feel it in your body too, right? Of what's true to you, and that's important. That's really important, I think, right now for us all to just be grounded in our experience and know that and we do create our own realities too, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, like what you said, you can have those opposing experiences, opposing beliefs, and they are true to both parties. So which one do you want to be true for you? Choose
Yeah.
the love thought over the fear thought. I'll tell you that. That's a good
Right?
way to go about it. But
Exactly. Once again, you're right. It is that. It's love or fear.
the
And it
polarities
doesn't mean that the one that's in fear is
is
wrong,
wrong. No,
right?
but
It
they're
just means that
making
that's
that their
how they view it.
experience now. If
Yeah.
they're so caught up in that fear-based belief, well, that's now their reality, right? So, but yeah, there's a fine line in, like bypassing things that need to be addressed or dealt with. But yeah, but being very mindful of that you're choosing your reality, and
Yeah.
the people you surround yourself with are huge factors, especially when we're working with the subconscious mind. They're hugely programming and influencing your subconscious mind. So it's important to set boundaries and really be aware of where your energy is going and who you're giving your energy to.
Yeah.
Really important to call that back and stay firm in that.
Yeah. No, I like to teach my clients about discernment, right? It's like just
Hmm.
because I'm telling you something doesn't and you don't believe in it doesn't mean you have to believe what I believe. Like I
Yeah.
really let my clients or anytime I teach is like I'm teaching you this and you take whatever you want from it. You
Hmm.
don't have to believe 100% of it. You are going to build your own truth and your own dictionary and your library and your own understanding of things. And that's the whole point because we are all so unique, right? So And we're
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we
Yeah.
are sovereign human beings, and we get to rule
Yeah.
ourselves, and we get to decide for ourselves where we want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Heck yeah. I'm here for it. I'm here for
All right. Well,
it.
thank you,
Thank
Jeannie.
you. So
I'm
great.
gonna yes, we're gonna say goodbye to everybody. I'm gonna try and post this
Yes.
online either today or tomorrow,
Awesome.
and I'll definitely connect you to it, or I'll send you a copy. All right. Thank
Awesome.
you so much for being
Thank
here.
you. Bye.
Oh no.